Alright, now that we have finally fixed the coolant problem on the A3, it's time to talk about the S3. So last time I was saying that I couldn't find a panel beater that was going to look at the chassis leg. Well, I finally found somebody, and because I don't have a way to cart this thing around, I've got a tow truck coming in the morning to pick it up and take it to the panel beaters to get looked at. But before that, we've got to remove the hood. And that's because of that scratch just in there, we've got the hood that's touching the pillar, and I don't want to keep lifting the thing up and down. So just to make it easy, we're going to get rid of it. We're going to get the gas strut off, the washer tubes off, and then we can start undoing it. So these washer bits just pull down from the side closest to the window. And we should be able to pull it all through this grommet. Unclipped. Go. Shit. Hood's off. Ready to be picked up in the morning. Oh, I'm interested to see how this will go. I'll let you know how we go with the panel beaters. Bye. Just quickly, if you want to follow this build to the end, please consider subscribing. When this is done, I plan for it to be my daily driver and we will be modifying it. So please hit the button now and let's get cracking with the video. I'm pretty stressed now because unlike a lot of YouTubers doing this content, I do not have a lot of money to shell out. I started this project as a bit of a dream, trying to fix up a car that I wanted to drive and share something with others. And share something with you. And a few people had thrown out wild numbers over the phone, between 5 and 10 grand just to fix this chassis rail. Well, they just flat out said, we won't touch it. I don't have that kind of money, and I'm starting to think this might have been a bad idea. I've been stressing all day about what this chassis rail is going to cost me to fix. And it can be quite an expensive fix, so I've just gotten a call back from the panel beater. And, well... So Lincoln, one of the owners at CarLink, said it might be able to be put on a floor jig and bent back into shape. A jig is essentially something you set a car up on to pull a car frame back into position. This is by far our biggest issue with the car. If we can get away with a floor jig, it could cost us as little as $250. But floor jigs don't have the same pulling power as a bigger one, and if it goes on a bigger one, the labor costs could blow out. Alright, so good news, we have the S3 back. And thankfully, the chassis rail is fixed. Now, there's a little bit to say here. After that first call where I thought it was going to be $250, $500 at max, I ended up getting a call that was actually a little bit demoralizing. I was told that the chassis rails were out by about 55 mil pushed this way, and tried it on the floor jig, didn't have enough pulling power, so they had to move it onto a normal jig. When they put it on a normal jig and started pulling, they got it down from 55 mil to just 15 mil, which was pretty good, but it still needed a little bit to do. And this is where we had to order a couple of parts to be able to finish things off. Because the crash bar is connected directly to the chassis rail and the radiator support sits right between that and the bolts to everything else, we had to essentially get those parts. So we got a brand new radiator support and a used crash bar. Oh my God, no. This is so dumb, but I just stuck the magnet for this microphone to my car and it's so strong I can't get it off. Pew! Now, in relation to cost, the problem actually lies in the fact that there is quite a bit involved just to take this front radiator support and the crash bar off. Crash bar is easy, just some bolts down here, but the radiator support has the lines for the air condenser wrapped through this. So you actually have to degas the system, meaning you've got no AC, and then you have to regas it afterwards. I got it quoted up, and parts included, it worked out to be about $2,200-ish. There were a couple of extra parts that I added after the fact that I think brought the total closer to about $2,500 with the tow. That was the bonnet hinges. It's not really worth trying to reuse the old bonnet hinges because you're not going to be able to tell whether or not these are bent themselves. And this radiator down here that's taken a bang for about $170 odd, which I thought was pretty good, but when it arrived, I'm actually not sure whether or not it's going to work. At first glance, everything looked okay, but it's definitely taken a hit down here. And if you can see just here, these fins look like they've taken a stone to it or something. And it does actually feel, you can see on my finger there, yeah, that's wet, and it's actually wet around this whole thing. All right, with the guard off, you can see a little bit more the damage here. That little chip there and that knock there is what I'm worried about. So pretty much what happens is you've got coolant that gets pumped through these, and a radiator is essentially designed to cool down the coolant that then gets cycled through your engine to cool down your engine. These little fins are what the air travels through to cool the coolant down. They go in through the pipes behind here, and then they run through these lengthways channels, which is why I'm concerned about this, because, well, as you can see, those two channels look bent. So I'm not sure if this is going to hold water. It doesn't look like it's leaking, but I'm still going to email CarLink because I think that potentially when some pressure gets put on this, it might leak then, or after a while it might start it. Well, that is a bit frustrating. It sort of just happens when you're looking at used parts. The thing that makes it a little bit more frustrating is that CarLink are closed for Christmas now, so it's going to be like a month before I can get to that. I can't put the new hinges on just yet because I think the bolts down there are T50s and the highest I've got is T40s, so I'll order some of that and then I'll fix that. I did also find that in the passenger side, annoying, I also have this OBD11. This video is definitely not sponsored, but OBD11 is essentially a scan tool that can check all the faults in our car. So the port goes under here, turn the ignition on for the car, open up our phone, press connect on the OBD11 app, reading control units. So while we wait, with that passenger side seatbelt, when you have a crash, usually the seatbelts will lock up if the airbags have gone off. Obviously the driver's one hasn't, but the passenger one, there's a little explosive inside the actual seatbelt mechanism that detonates and stops you flying through the windscreen or hitting your head on the steering wheel or the dashboard. Now, from my understanding, I think that that would only go off if somebody was sitting there. But obviously it's locked just like that, and it's very clear that no one was sitting there. So what I think's happened is that the driver's left something sitting on the seat here. The seat has recognized that there is a person sitting there, and the seatbelt's explosive is detonated in the crash. That's the only thing that I can think of. And if that explosive has gone off, we'll be able to tell within the OBD11 app when we scan everything. So let's do that. All right, we'll get everything ready now. Tap that. 76 faults found. Okay, engine. So it does look like the driver's and the passenger igniters went off, or it says resistance is too high, but this one isn't locked, so I think that one might clear off. Let's clear all these faults, rescan it, and see what comes back. All right, so from 76 down to 14, I'm pretty happy with that. Yep, air conditioning we know about, central electronics. Look, we definitely need a passenger side seatbelt, but the driver side also rescanned, so I'm gonna assume that we still need that. So I guess from here, what parts do we still need? Well, we're gonna need both the seatbelts. We probably still need that radiator. We're gonna need a hood, a front bumper, the under part of the front bumper. There's also this little inlet bit here that's missing on this side. I have this little bit of trim that covers up the side there. On the Transport, the driver's side one got lost. I'm gonna need this clip that helps secure the front bumper to the quarter panel. We're gonna need to get both the quarter panels panel beaded from CarLink, but from that point, I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get it taken for its safety inspection, register it, and then start modifying. And we're gonna fix up some of the damage on both the headlights with a plastic welder. Thanks for watching this episode. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. I just want to end this with, this series is about me putting myself outside my comfort zone and doing something that's hard. It's just me enjoying my life. It's made me really happy. I can't really afford to do it, but I feel like it's the right thing for me. I can't do it fast like Matt Armstrong and buy everything in one hit, but I really want to share this with the world, and I'd love for you to come on that ride with me. The S3 won't be the end of it, and if there's something that you want to do that might put yourself outside of your own comfort zone, please give it a shot. Might make you a lot happier than you think. Big forehead, big forehead.